In addition to our series, we'll be exploring the economic assessment of the previously developed simplified biodiesel production system from oils. Right now, you recall that we had already previously specified a folder that's more or less linked an Excel file with the Aspen file, which I called LinkedIn, right, or Lincoln, right. So all you need to do is to go to the LinkedIn file folder where you see the Excel file and the Aspen file. You open up the Excel file, right. Now this was where we were trying to, let me close up this. Now we're trying to see how the changes in the Excel file may be implemented in Aspen, right? If you recall. So the first thing we need to do is to introduce the Aspen tabs, the relevant Aspen tabs to the Excel file. So we come to File, Options, Add-ins, right? You go to Computer Add-ins, and you click on all the Aspen tabs, and it should present itself. So you have your Aspen simulation workbook, right? Now, having activated Aspen on the Excel file, you click on the Aspen simulation workbook, you enable it, right? And you wait for it to be properly enabled. Now it's enabled, you connect. Now you should see your appropriate Aspen file here. Now this is because we had linked it before. If we go to a previous video, I can't really remember the one. It'll be like 3 videos before now. I just demonstrated how this linking is done. When you connect the Aspen file with the Excel file. Right, now the point of this is, if you are doing economic assessments, you need to, for the most part, undertake the assessments on a spreadsheet, right? So rather than having to copy and paste this details manually, like it takes a lot of time, you copy and paste for each reactor, you can easily just link them and you do all the calculations in Excel. I will demonstrate what I mean. Now it's fully connected. You can easily make your Aspen file visible by clicking on the visible tab, right? Okay, so you click on the Aspen file, the Aspen visible tab, right? And yeah, so we have our Aspen, which we have opened from Excel, right? Now, one very easy way to do this, right, is to simply click on the economics tab here, right? So you could just switch it on, right? You click on the economics tab and wait for it to run. So this simply gives you, this will give you the capital cost and the utility cost, right? Let's load in the analysis. Yeah, so based on the Aspen estimation method, the capital cost is about 53 million, 54 million USD, right? However, the challenge is this. You see, in some cases when you have this estimation done, you always have this kind of error thing, right? And we do not, one very crucial problem is that we really do not know how this capital cost, what method was used, because there are several methods that exist in literature, right? There are several ways of estimating capital cost. There are several ways of estimating utility cost. We don't know what they did. Utility cost is not fixed, right? Utility cost will vary depending on the country, right? For instance, the cost of steam in South Africa is not the same as the cost of steam in Nigeria, right? The cost of steam in Nigeria is not the same as the cost of steam per kiloton in the USA, right? So you need to be able to do this independently. It is not advisable for you to simply just read off the numbers you have from the economics tab. Now, I had contacted Aspen previously, and they had told me that, okay, the purchase cost is gotten from accurate estimates of what is obtainable in the industry. However, for different sizes and flow rates, they have a mapping algorithm that is more or less kind of similar to our sizing factors, right? So for all intents and purposes, we can actually comfortably utilize the purchase cost of the major equipments, or some equipment rather, in Aspen Plus. For instance, costs like distillation columns, pumps, heaters, and coolers, I expect that we should be able to utilize the purchase equipment cost that is provided by Aspen. However, I will not encourage us utilizing the cost provided by Aspen when utilizing specialized equipment, such as, say, an ion exchange column, right? You see, because those kind of equipments are not expressly designed for or specified in Aspen. So it will make more sense for you to go source out the purchase cost of those specialized equipments from the industry, right, and use appropriate scaling factors for your work. What do I mean? Like in this case now, if we were to go back to our main flow sheet, this is just a reactor. You can as well use the purchase cost of this equipment as provided by Aspen. Now this is a splitter which really has no cost. It's just a split like a T-junction, for instance. This is a cooler that can be obtained from Aspen. This is a flash tank, right, that could be also obtained from Aspen, right? Distillation column. So every cost here can be utilized based on the estimate provided by Aspen. However, we cannot utilize, for instance, the installation cost, because again, we do not know how these installation costs were obtained. You understand what I mean? It is wise to do the calculations yourself. So you come here, you get the operation that you are considering. So we can utilize, in this case, you come back to the main flow, R1, right? So you come R1, right? You see, it couldn't even estimate what R1 was, right? Now this would explain why we had the error, but sometimes it provides this error indication when it couldn't calculate all the unit operations there, right? Now in case of this, that means we will need to find a cost of a reactor that had been utilized in providing or producing biodiesel in a previous study, then utilize the flow rates of the inlet stream to scale up the process or scale down depending on the flow rate. So what I will do is to first get the costs that are available and store them in a new sheet, in a new file. So what we have here, we should have the VIP one. So what we do, we copy it, right? We're trying to now put it into a tab here so that everything we have is very easy and visible. So I have a custom table, so we can call this custom table cost of equipment. So just say C underscore purchase, or purchase, let's call it purchase, right, just abbreviated, right? So you come in here and you paste the cost. This is the cost for the vaporizer, for the flash vap, so you can call this flash 1, right? Then you come back here to the main flow sheet. What we have again is the cooler, right? So the cooler, this is the cooler the cooler operation, right? The cooling operation rather. You come in here, look for the unit operation. Cooler is also given. It's quite substantial. Come in here, you paste it in here. Put the cooler, right? Go back to the main flow sheets. You need the column. Well, now I'm not bothering myself about C1. We recall that C1 was just the approximate column which we tried to demonstrate when we were trying to demonstrate the differences between the approximate and the rigorous, right? So I'm really concerned with C2 and C3, right? If we recall. Again, I'll refer you to the previous videos that were developed in this to explain this, what I mean here. So anyway, cooler 2, come in here, we're looking for cooler 2. So we look for cooler 2. Right, so paste it there. Cooler 2. Right, come to the results again. You know, the main sheet we could need C2 and C3, which are the two distillation columns. So we come in here, the main distillation column C2. Right, so paste one. I can call it column 1. Column distillation 1. When we come in here, we'll get to the next distillation column. The next distillation column. C2 and C3. So it seems that C3 is being an issue. Okay, C3 was up. I couldn't find it initially, so what's in there? Because again, understand that when you see this error, it suggests that it's like a warning. There are errors in the results. That typically means that it was unable to calculate for some of the unit operations that, you know, the purchase cost of some of the unit operations were not determined by Aspen, right? Anyway, so now we have obtained everything that Aspen has, right? So what we were unable to obtain in this case was the cost of the reactor, right? The reactor R1. Now, what does this mean? This means that you need to go and utilize, for all intents and purposes, a cost from the literature, right? Now, what happens is this: you go to the literature, you look for the cost of a reactor, then relate it to the flow rates of the stream, you know, being fed or exiting the reactor, depending on your functional unit, what you are considering as your reference unit. So in other words, if we were looking at, say, the mass balance of this reactor as a unit, right, as the sizing unit, right, we can come in here, get the results in here, and check the balance, right, and collect the mass flow in and out, which will be balanced, right, and come in here and just specify it. So we paste it in there and call this the mass flow into the reactor.